Hello, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk to you guys today about how Gen Xers are doing retirement different than their parents, even from their grandparents. So I'm a Gen Xer. I was born December of 71. And I feel like, well, first of all, Gen X, they're from like 1965 to 1980, I believe. So I'm kind of right in the middle-ish. But we're doing retirement. And when I say we're doing retirement, I mean, we're in a pre-retirement right now and gearing up for it, trying to decide what that looks like, whether we're prepared or not, or as prepared as we had hoped to be, and in discovering that we're not, which is not a surprise to a lot of us. I think we just always in the back of our mind kind of knew we probably weren't going to quite be where we wanted to be. But we're very different in a lot of ways from the baby boomers and from our parents because, you know, most of them, a lot of them, if not most, had jobs that had pensions, and we didn't have a lot of options for jobs with pensions. We had some, but there was very few. I know anytime I was looking for a new job or to kind of change things around, my mother would always be like, you really got to get a pension. You really got to get a pension. And I always felt like, well, duh, I would love one. But there's very few companies that give them anymore. And she didn't really seem to understand that they just really weren't out there. And so, I mean, that was super annoying because it just kind of felt like she made me feel like I wasn't picking the right jobs or looking in the right places. And that wasn't the case. So, but I think the important difference between us and our parents is that we're not afraid to try things that are different or to do things that are different. I mean, when we were growing up, you know, you see those memes now where, you know, we didn't have seatbelts initially and in vehicles, and, you know, we would take our bicycles off jumps that could have killed us. I mean, you know, we lived on the edge, and most of the time we probably took care of ourselves at a very early age. But we're not afraid of things, to do anything different, you know, to do things differently and to try new things and to figure things out. And I also think that we're also not as traditional as they were. And that kind of goes hand in hand with trying new things and doing things differently. You know, yeah, we want to retire and get away from the 9 to 5, but I don't think most of us are looking to just sit back in the recliner for the next 20 plus years until we die. Like it's not that we're looking to do nothing. We're looking to stop with the grind. We're looking to stop trying to climb the ladder, the corporate ladder. We're looking to try to stop making a difference in a company that doesn't value us, that doesn't value what we do. I mean, they replace us quicker than we can pack a box and get out of our office. So I think we've realized that. And even if we realized that long ago and didn't want to admit it, because you kind of needed the job anyway, so you felt like you made a difference. And a lot of people do make a difference, but I think it's important to understand that most of us, our mindset for retirement now is going to be, how different will this be from my parents and from my grandparents? I look back at least my grandfather on my mother's side. I mean, when he retired with a pension, and so he got Social Security as well, but he always had other income streams. He owned a lot of property, and he cut hay with his tractor, and he sold that. He had a junk pile of metal and lawnmowers, and, you know, he would use one pile for parts, and he would fix lawnmowers up and sell them, and bicycles, and, you know, he visited the junk yard and the landfill regularly to drop stuff off and see what he could find. And I mean, that was a hobby of sorts, but it was an income stream for him. And I think that's what we're looking to do as well. We're looking to, because most of us don't have a pension, we're looking to figure out what those other income streams are going to be. And I think it's just our inherent nature as being Gen Xers to just figure shit out. So again, we know they say you don't retire and then just sit. That's just not healthy. I think, I remember when people retired, if they didn't do something, they were like dead in a year. So it's important to stay active and to keep your mind busy and to be physically active, especially being that I think being health conscious is, it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more prevalent in what we understand to be needed. It wasn't driven into you when you retired as a baby boomer. It's driven into us now. We hear, getting steps and eating better, and so I think we have that knowledge base and understand the importance of that more so than they really did. But I think our goal and what we really want is freedom, is time. You cannot put a price on time. And I think we want the freedom to do what we want with our time. And I think it's going to be important for us to try to utilize the skill sets that we have, and maybe try to turn our hobbies into income streams, and kind of diversify a little. I don't think it's a bad idea for people to get a part-time job. There's a guaranteed income stream to supplement, hopefully, Social Security. If you have a pension, great. But, try to turn a hobby into an income stream. Maybe start a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel can be on anything. It can be on a book club. If you like to read, it can be on writing. If you like to write, it can be on crocheting or knitting. It could be on finance. Like whatever you enjoyed in your job, make a YouTube channel. It is a little odd to get in front of the camera for the first time and to talk and to figure out what you're going to say. And you get better over time. It's hearing your voice. It's seeing yourself on camera. You get used to it. And I don't think there's any worry about saturation, because a lot of times, I know for me, I will get on YouTube to search for something and I just can't seem to find what I'm looking for. So that's a perfect thing for me to do. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but also you could have 15, 20, 30 different YouTube channels about one topic. And at least for me, I'm not going to watch them all, because there's going to be certain people that I don't care for how they do their channel. I don't care for maybe their voice. I don't care for how they structure it. I don't care for the mannerisms that they have. I mean, we all have those idiosyncrasies that could annoy someone else. And so I think having the variation and options is awesome. So I don't think that saturation is really ever going to be an issue. And plus, it's, the channels are kind of like a fingerprint. Like everybody's going to do things slightly different. Even if the general topic is similar, everybody's got a perspective and they've lived a different life and have had different experiences, and that's what they're going to bring to their channel. So there's never going to really be one that's the same. So I just think it's super important, if you are a Gen Xer, to really start thinking about what retirement's going to look like for you. Start planning now. Again, if it's going to be starting a business, if it's going to be starting a YouTube channel, if it's going to be um, anything like that at all, that's going to take time to get up off the ground, to figure out how you're going to structure it, what things are going to look like. You're going to need a little bit of trial and error. So do it now. Try it out. Make sure it's something you're going to want to do. And while you're still working now, figure all of that out and get it up and running. There's ways to fit it in. And I'm a big fan of time blocking. I am also a big believer that you can get things done if you plan for them. A lot of people will always say, oh, I don't have time to do this or do that. It's because you're not planning it. You know, if it's important enough to you, you will make sure it gets done. And I think it's super important to keep that in mind, and to structure your day or your week or your month to devote a little bit of time, even if it's a couple hours a month, just to research a topic in regards to what your hobbies are, what you could do with your hobby in retirement, consulting, what's involved in consulting, what kind of base do you need to build now, what kind of knowledge do you need to have, you know, even when it comes to a YouTube channel, you know, how the algorithm works, which that will be ever changing. So hold off, because what you learn today could be different tomorrow. But, you know, just start learning different pieces. And I don't think that starting a YouTube channel should scare you, because you don't really need to worry about getting a mic or how to edit videos. Go live, or, you know, record it on your phone, upload it, repeat. Like, you really don't need to have all the bells and whistles that everybody else has. I think as you realize that this is what you want to do, and you start to hone in on what your niche is going to be and your topic is going to be, and you can start figuring out different formats and content and all of that, then you may want to build upon that, and get better equipment, or get equipment, or but you don't need that right away. And you could even practice with your phone taking video, and then watch the video and pick it apart. Do you like your background? Do you like the way the voice is coming through if you don't get a mic, especially if you're going to do this outside? You know, maybe pick up on how you present your voice, and so forth. Like, do you say a lot? Are you afraid of the silence between thoughts? There's going to be things you pick up on that most people aren't, but get used to seeing yourself on video and start to figure out how you can make it better. And then once you are done looking at that video, delete it. You don't have to post it right away, not until you get comfortable. Just don't be afraid of it. And I think, you know, again, Gen Xers, for the most part, we all have different personalities, but a lot of us, we figure it out. And you will too. So just start keeping a notebook with some ideas of, you know, what those income streams could look like, the different avenues you could possibly go down, what your skill set is, what you want to do with your time. Because when you leave your job and retire, it's got to be something that you love to do. It's got to be something that really doesn't feel like a job. And it doesn't have to bring you a ton of money. It just has to bring you a little bit, because you'll have multiple income streams, hopefully. But, you know, it's time to give it some thought now. So just wanted to put the video out there to give you something to think about. Again, I think it would be hugely important to keep some kind of a notebook of all of these ideas and areas that you want to explore, just to kind of keep everything in one area. It's going to be, I think, very helpful, especially that this is going to go on for a few years, to kind of get an idea of, did I try that before, or was I just thinking about it? Or, okay, yeah, I remember thinking maybe I would do a YouTube channel, but when I thought about it a year ago, I don't remember what topics I was thinking about even doing it on. And you can kind of refer back to that notebook and figure out what you've already done, and that sort of thing. And then any research that you're doing on it will be right there in one place. So I hope that this gives you some ideas. I hope this gives you some insight to maybe the different areas of your life you need to pick apart and think about and brainstorm on. And I would absolutely love to hear from you to find out what your potential retirement looks like already, as far as what you've already thought about, what you already have lined up and planned. Um, you know, are you planning on doing anything with your hobbies? Do you write? Do you plan on doing any kind of consulting work? Um, I'd really be interested to find out, because I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of different ideas that aren't even being spoken about. And I think it's good for us as a Gen X group to really kind of start talking about this out loud and to each other so we can learn from each other and get some ideas from each other. And again, would love for you to leave me a comment, get some exchange going, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.